heart is deceitful above all things and is beyond cure. Who can know it? Jeremiah 17:9. But we're also told in Deuteronomy 6:5, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, and with all your soul. That's reinforced in the Ten Commandments in Exodus 20:3, where it says, thou shalt not have any other gods before me. A God can become anything that becomes an idol or more important to you in life than God, the God that created you, the Most High God who revealed himself through Jesus Christ. Now, we live in a world where the heart is ruling all people's decisions, and the heart is desperately wicked. But we're told to love God first, beyond all things, and love him with all our heart, mind, and soul. Why? Because when we love God, our heart becomes in alignment with his, and we believe his word. We believe what he says, and we want to live the way he showed us how to live through Jesus, with compassion. People are all going to have their areas of sin that they struggle in, and we have compassion, but we don't let them stay there because we know sin separates us from God. And to have that separation eternally is not a pretty picture. But the problem in the world is, I don't like to compare things to the courtroom because there's a lot of injustice and corruption within the courts, and people think it's a fair system. But the number one criteria a prosecution needs to get a conviction of a defendant is a motive. Without a motive, they usually don't have much of a case. When it comes to motive, we've all been conditioned to love certain things, and we've all been groomed in this world to love things of the flesh. The heart, the God-made heart that is inside of us, that beats, that makes us have the ability to breathe and to sustain life. It's of the flesh. So it's going to yearn things of the flesh unless we have it synced up and in line with the heart of God through his word. You know, in Matthew 22, when the servant comes up to Jesus and says, teacher, what is the greatest of all commandments? Or what is the greatest law? And Jesus repeats Deuteronomy 6:5, love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul. But then he follows it up with, and the second is just like it, love your neighbor as yourself. You cannot do the second one the way he wants unless you were doing the first. Without the first one, you are not able to love your neighbor as yourself because you're loving yourself much more than you're loving God. You're looking out for your own desires, for your own self-interest. Whether you know it or not, and whether you have bad intentions or not, it's not the point. If it's not lined up with the Word of God, your intentions are going to be led astray by this world, because this world, the God of this world, is hell-bent on destroying everybody made in God's image. You know, whistleblowers who expose evil within government, they're often demonized and attacked. Their credibility, their reputation is destroyed. But they had nothing to gain from sharing what they did. They put everything on the line to share what they did. There is no motive. So when people attack them based on what they're seeing and hearing on the news, you have to ask why. Are they being deceived? When people are given a blanket free pass to say whatever they want on the media and are living handsome lives, they're rewarded financially with status and influence and many other things of this world. They're rewarded for pushing these other agendas and attacking these people who are trying to expose evil. Why? When you look at the motives of the two sides of that equation, it's completely opposite of our court of law, which people think is fair. But in the world, the controlling entities do not want fair. They want control. So they have to silence anybody who is trying to expose the intentions of the wicked, because the heart is wicked. If you are not loving God, and those that are in control of this world are not loving the Most High God, they love the God of this world because he lets them do whatever they want, follow the flesh, do whatever they want, divide and conquer. And they are serving the God of this world who hates human beings. So ultimately, he will dispose of them in the end. There is eternal judgment. Hell is a real place. I share these things because I don't want any of you to go there. Hell is a real place. I don't want anyone to end up there because they were deceived. But that is exactly what the powers in this world are trying to do, to deceive you from loving God first, who then gives you the ability to love your neighbor the proper way with truth, even though it may hurt and sting because people aren't ready to hear the truth. We all heard Jack Nicholson say, you can't handle the truth. Most people really can't. They want to have their preconditioned beliefs of the world affirmed by every source so they can stay comfortable in the bubbles they exist within. But that's not love and truth coming hand in hand. When you know the truth, even though it's difficult to digest, you can move forward stronger. Matthew 24:12 says, as wickedness increases, the love of many will grow cold. Wickedness or lawlessness. And we're seeing those things. And when the love grows cold, when the heart grows cold, we all just allow the divisions in the world to take root, and we don't love anymore because we're not loving God first, because God has been taken out of the equation, or he's been diluted into some false God, which there are many. I'll end it with 1 John 4:21. And we have this commandment from him. Whoever loves God must love his brother as well. So if you claim to love God, but you have hate in your heart for a brother or sister, you don't love God. You've been deceived into loving the God of this world. And I pray you seek the one true God who died for you on the cross, Jesus Christ. God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow.